Hey guys, welcome back. It's Kate with Kate's Regretless Life. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into another what I call an urgent message. These are the quick hits. I wanted to go ahead and start out with briefly mentioning, you notice I have many globes around me, or crystal balls. I even have an itty bitty one way in the back on that side corner in this little book nook, mystical tarot book nook. But here's the thing, crystal balls have been around for a very long time. Crystal balls were found even in tombs of early kings, dating all the way back to, oh gosh, like 481 AD. So they were very popular in Roman eras. They were very popular all throughout the world. Chinese, Japanese history, in the Gauls, the Druids, you name it. It's very cross cultural. It became very popular once again in Victorian era, where they were using crystal balls for things like scrying and divination. Other times, crystal balls in history were used more as ornamentation. But here's one thing that we don't talk about. Crystal balls also happen to be like a highly reflective, they're a ball lens, right? And so as such, they are omnidirectional, meaning that it can pick up light and become quite a burning lens. So holding it in direct sunlight can actually create a burn on the person whose hand is holding it. And I just kind of wanted to touch on this a bit and say, all right, so we know that there's a, multitude of ideas on maybe why someone would use this, either as a lens, knowing that looking through it is going to show us an image, like inverted and opposite from what we are looking at, and seeing distances that are greater than what our eye could normally see, because it is a lens, so it amplifies things. It also inverts things, giving us a different perspective. Then, like I said, it also can highlight things like sunlight. And that's more the perspective that I want to have on this. It's not to predict future, it's to take a look at it from a different perspective. So this is my own spin on crystal balls. But I'd like to say, what is the message coming through from the crystal ball perspective? Meaning, what is something to give us a different perspective? What is there that a character needs to look at in a different way from what they are? What do we need to shed light on? Four of Swords. So Four of Swords, remember, can be a card of healing. It can also be a card of silence, so we can listen to what the universe has to say. We have the Ten of Pentacles. This has to do with abundance and family. This could be if a character is solely thinking about abundance in forms of like money, they may be not focusing enough on, actually like, what is the money for? It's to give a better life for ourselves and the people that we love. So maybe it's time to think more about family, less about finances. We also have the Four of Cups, and that is sideways. This is normally a card of disappointment and illusion. And in this case, it says, ask both of those questions. Where is a disillusionment coming from? Is that something that is like being highlighted? Have we put too high an expectation? Did we forget that we're divine? You notice how she's actually glowing here? The aura is very bright. So let me put it this way. To me, if there is a topic that a character needs to consider from a different lens, it has to do with healing, it has to do with resources, and it has to do with recognizing one's own divinity. And I kind of think what we're seeing is a character who's been putting way too much pressure on themselves, telling themselves that they're not enough, telling themselves, maybe this is somebody worried about Christmas gifts. How am I going to buy enough Christmas presents? I'm sick, I'm missing days at work. How am I going to have the money to buy Christmas presents? How am I going to show my love? And it's like, we show our love every day to the people that we care about by being there for them. By the way, I don't know if somebody has a particularly favored pet. This pet could have a name that's like king or queenie or royal, or I'm just noticing that we've got this big old bulldog that is wearing a very lovely king's robe back here. We have Ten of Cups and the Magician. I believe if somebody is short on cash flow, and this could be particularly pertaining to a masculine, if somebody is shorter on cash flow, especially around the holidays, and they are stressing and they are worried that they're not going to be doing enough and that they're going to be receiving more from people they love than they're able to give in return, this says, no, our character needs to see it from a different lens. Think of the way we really show time, attention, and caring for our partner. This could be somebody that needs to think outside the box. Maybe they need to um, you know, set up a night with their loved one where they have watched a couple of videos on maybe how to learn to dance or a tango or something. And now it's like, okay, we're having a special date night. But instead of going out and spending a ton of money, we're actually going to take this dance lesson right here in the comfort of our own living room. But it's so much more intimate, and it's me and it's you. I put in a little bit of time. I pre-watched it several thousand times, and now let me see if we can act it out together as if we're in a private dance studio with a teacher teaching just us. But think of how sensual that could be. Think of how wonderful that could be. Think of how much it could make our partner feel so special. He has to manifest really showing his heart, which is really what any kind of gifting scenario is about, or any kind of like giving should not necessarily be tied to money ever. The act of giving, it's really to show somebody, right? All an item is, all a gift is to say, here's a present for you. This is how I feel about you, which is why it gets so stressful, because how do we show somebody how we feel about them when we have to go buy a mass-produced item? We show it usually by trying to figure out, what do they care about? Let me go buy that item for them. So I say to you, hi, I know you wanted this, so I went out and I found the money to get it for you. But really, is that the best way to show love? This would suggest no. This would suggest there's a way better way to show love, and that is to actually show, this is what my heart wants. I want to spend time with the people that I love. I want to be with you. I want to manifest obviously some hot romantic dates. Okay, this is a very steamy, very spicy, and very joyful turn of events here. So it could be that our character, and I'm going to say this could be the message that a masculine is kind of like thinking about and processing right now. But it could be feminine too. It's just that magician is making me say masculine, which, by the way, our lead character here could certainly be a Virgo or a Gemini. Maybe it's two people. Remember, Gemini is the twins. But we certainly see somebody that is very willing to like think outside the box. And I think they're getting inspired now. Instead of feeling worried or sad or stressed or exhausted, or I'm not going to be good enough, I'm going to destroy Christmas, or I'm not going to be able to show somebody how I feel about them, or I'm not doing enough for my family and they're so wonderful and I want to do more for them. This says there's many different ways to do more for the people that we love. With this Knight of Wands, I think this just dialed him in. Instead of feeling scattered, instead of feeling like I have to zip around, go shopping all over the place, he's like, oh no, all I need to do is think about, what environment do I create for the people that I love? How can I actually connect to them in ways that show them how I care about them? How do I mean, maybe it's like, oh, my kids love to go to the park, but I never have time for that. So on this holiday, we're going to do something that the kids love to do. It's not about presents. It's about surprising them with, a place that they love to go. It's about the experience. It's about spending genuine time together. I do think somebody could be cooking somebody something, baking something. I mean, we all got to eat, so it's easy enough sometimes to, not that groceries aren't terribly expensive, but it's easy enough to maybe add in, a few extra, flourishes, make the plating look a little prettier, and it could still just be whatever, hamburger helper, but we're going to put it on the fancy plates. We're going to, do something that just has an extra flourish to it. And it's just little tiny touches that really show a character incredible love. That Ace of Swords, that's what our character needed to get to. They needed to have the clarity. And more than anything, they need to stop stressing and worrying about something. That Ace of Swords, this is somebody having the epiphany moment where it's like, it's true. The most important thing is, what do I already have that I love in my life? Oh, I love my family. I love the people I care about. I love my work colleagues. I love certain people in my life, and that's what I want to make sure I show to them. Well, then let me actually show it. Let it be more personal, not less personal. Let it not be in the form of purchased gifts, perhaps, but instead little act of, kindness. Let me go ahead and speak the words that I need to tell somebody. And it doesn't have to be creative, extensive art projects or something, but it certainly could be, but it says, let me make everybody feel like $1,000,000 by letting them know how I feel about them. This could be a time where a divine masculine gets very, very good with basically showing his emotions, not through monetary gifts, but showing his emotions through words. Maybe he's writing somebody a poem. Maybe there's something here about, you know, you don't have to go buy a card either. You can take a piece of paper and you can write down your actual thoughts. You don't have to be tremendously creative to be able to find words. Sometimes I think we speak better through a pen than we speak with our lips. And I just feel like this is what the encouragement is. If we're going to look through a crystal ball, look into the future and see things from a different lens, it says for upcoming like energy of how do I bond to people? How do I show them that I love them? This is an alternative way to do it. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate you guys. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Don't forget, if you are looking for my full-length content, know that I have playlists for every single zodiac. You can just go to the playlist tab and click on that and then scroll through to find the zodiac that you wish to find. And we have many videos for that. We have videos specifically for singles reads also that typically come out on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And then every day we actually have a today's tarot topic. And it is in that series that I put out daily, which are date specific, where we're doing a tarot Advent, where every day, it's not this particular Advent calendar, this is one that I'm using privately just for fun for me, but we are picking 2 winners every day to celebrate our march toward Christmas. All right, lots of love, you guys. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate you.